Boom, boom, boom. Slick Rick is already here. Good morning. At least it is here. Okay. It is here in the Philippines. What is it? 6 o'clock a.m. on May the 4th. How is everybody? I hope you're doing well. We'll see if anybody actually shows up. It's already been a little bit of a busy morning for me. That's for sure. We've got a lot of information to cover if anybody comes in and is interested enough to actually listen and to participate. Again, we want people to understand that, and you'll have to forgive me, I have something in my eye, I think. We learn as much from this, actually more. We learn more from you, the viewers and the commenters, than the information that we put out. But we're going to talk about the latest proposals. We're going to talk about the latest proposal from Iran. We're going to talk about OPEC pulling out, not OPEC, but the UAE pulling out of OPEC. We're going to talk about a couple of different things and how they may come into you. So let's see if we've got this set up. Slick Rick, good morning, Mike from San Francisco, California, where I'm paying anywhere from $6.30 to $7.20 for gas. You know, Rick, I don't quite understand it. I guess oil and gas follows the global market rather than actual expenses and revenue. And what I mean by that is that there's no shortage of oil and gas in the U.S. Why the U.S. is seeing that, I can only sit there and say it follows a global market, and that global market is providing an incredible windfall, all right, tremendous profits to the oil companies in the U.S. right now. That's the only thing I can come up with in thinking about that. Okay. Scott Ferris, good morning. How are you? Thanks for dropping in. Bobby Gill, have you ever watched Spaceballs? Yeah, I've watched Spaceballs, Bobby. It's a goofy movie, that's for sure. Tim Deziak, good morning. Good morning, Tim. 3 o'clock p.m. in San Francisco. Yeah. Philippine Traveler, hit the thumbs up and share the. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We appreciate everything and your comments and your views and your thoughts and your opinions. I mean, we certainly want all of that. Top of the morning, Big Dave. How are you, Dave? Mike, what air purifier do you have? We have 2 air purifiers. We have, both of them are Samsung, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to go take a look. They're both high-end units. One is a very large air purifier that sits in our main room, our dining, living, kitchen area. All right. And then we have another unit, which is overkill. It's larger than it needs to be in our bedroom. We don't use the one in the main room that much, but we do. And part of the reason for that is that the particulate matter pollution, where we live in particular, right here on Narcisco Street. Candy Palace is on Narcisco Street, and Narcisco Street is a main thoroughfare for big trucks, construction trucks, and with the general dust in the air from construction all over the city, plus the construction behind Candy Palace for the railway, plus the construction up at Fields Avenue, plus all the jeepneys and pollution and everything else. We run one in our bedroom all night. We just do. She's Pizza the Hut. Okay, Bobby. I understand. Sup, D Web? What are you up to? That's what Rick wants to know. Bruce from Florida. How you doing, Bruce? Bruce, I was just watching a couple of videos yesterday about some real estate in the Florida Keys. I love Florida. I really do. 419 in Brooklyn, New York. Wow, Mike. Brooklyn, New York. It's just the price gouging. You know what, Rick? I think you're right. I really do. There's no reason at all for oil to be at the price that it's at in the U.S. right now. Tim Dizak, there are no refineries in California, so they have to truck the fuels used. Yeah, actually, they pipeline a vast majority of it. There's a huge pipeline from, I think it's in the Galveston or Corpus Christi area, all those refineries in that area, running all the way through New Mexico, Texas, New Mexico, all the way up to Phoenix, and it branches in Phoenix, and a big piece of it goes to California as well. Way too much taxes on fuel. Yeah, there's a lot. There really is. Bobby Gill, because of OPEC, it's a communist type of organization. That's why the use is taking, wait a minute. Because of OPEC, it's a communist type of organization. That's why the UAE is talking about leaving it in our global market. Shouldn't affect us, but it does thanks to blue policies. Yeah, I'm interested to see what impact that has, to be honest with you. Chippy Whisker, I got timed out last live. Who timed you out, Chippy? The only people that, Chippy, I certainly didn't time you out. That would have been Dave, D Webb, or Philly. I don't know. Can you give me an idea about that? I'll check on it. Lionel Humphreys. Good morning, Mike. Good morning. Did YouTube not like your comments, maybe? Chippy? I don't know. Thank you for that answer. Tim, anytime. Tim Dizak, there's a couple in Southern Cal and smaller ones in the Bay Area. Yeah. So let's take a look. I want to talk to you about the latest because there's been a lot of news, and I don't know how much of that news is true. Okay? I mean, we all know that all the news has so much bias and so much bullshit and everything else. And how is it impacting you in the US, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, and everywhere else? How do global events impact you? And you know, I've been concentrating on the Middle East global events, but I'm also going to be concentrating on current events in global events in the U.S., like this most recent May Day protest bullshit. I'm going to be talking about crap in the U.K. I mean, the U.K., for such a great country, for such a country that has led the world in many things over the years, to watch it degrade itself to the level that it has is really, really been astounding to me. And then we'll look at things in France. I mean, we're going to be looking at stuff. Africa is actually an area that I think we need to start paying attention to also. Diesel is costing me about $84 to fill our Toyota van for one day to Legazpi. Yeah. I don't know the last time that we filled up our Fortuner, but I want to say it was right around 4,000 pesos a diesel. But then again, we don't drive that much. We really and truly don't. So it doesn't impact us in that big a deal. We need Walter Cronkite to start doing it. I miss old Walter. Come on. I like Walter Cronkite. Paul Rogers, good morning, Paul. Hi, Mike. Great subject. NATO needs to go. Waste of our money. I don't know that NATO needs to go, but it certainly needs to be redefined. I don't see where NATO does us a lot of good right now, but we'll talk about that a little further. I want to get into this latest proposal first from the IRGC, from Iran. I think that's and I want to get across also what Trump has announced, this Project Freedom. Project Freedom is the, you know what? We'll just get into it. Project Freedom. Okay, we've got 30 in the room. So let's get into it. So Trump is skeptical after Iran proposes 14-point peace plan. Now, before we get into this Project Freedom, okay? And I'll put it down here just a little bit. But before we get into Project Freedom, I want you to understand there is no public document yet, an actual public document that it comes from the IRGC or from Iran, all right, which is what the IRGC is running Iran, all right? There's no public document available yet, but we do have a couple of reliable media outlets that are reporting what parts of it are. And we're going to go into that, but I want to get into Project Freedom first because I think people need to understand. So President Donald Trump announced Project Freedom on Sunday, whereby the U.S. military would begin guiding ships from other nations safely out of the Strait of Hormuz starting Monday. The process, he said, was intended as a humanitarian effort to help innocent people and businesses. So, but we're going to continue that, but I want you to look. This is the current live feed from maritime traffic. All those red dots, all right, because that's the Strait of Hormuz, all right, all those red dots are cargo and fuel tankers. And there's a crap load of them waiting to get out. And if they didn't pick up fuel, if they're full of fuel, but the fuel did not come from Iran, all right, the U.S. is going to escort them out so that they don't have to worry about these little fast attack, these little hit and runs and things like that. I think that ups the level of risk a little bit for the U.S. Navy, but that's their job, okay? That's their job. And you can see all of these tankers waiting. But, you know, if we look at a couple of different things, I mean, you can see everybody. Look at everybody down here. You know, you've got Saudi Arabia over here. Look at everybody heading to the Suez Canal. All right, and the Suez Canal is much more difficult to do anything. But look at all this down here, down through the Cape of Good Hope, Cape Town. That's not the Cape of Good Hope, is it? Yeah, it is. I can't remember. All right, but you've got Cape Town and South Africa. All right, and where are they all heading? Guess what? Just follow them all. They're all heading to the U.S. I mean, right now, Bruce, I don't think you can go boating. I don't think you know, I imagine the water all around the Gulf All right. And even up on the east coast of Florida is loaded with tankers. Look at them. All right. You can also take a hard, steady look down here to the Panama Canal. I mean, and it also is limited in size and scope. So, that's a big deal. It really and truly is. All right. So Trump is going to start escorting these ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. All right. And it says the announcement came as Trump expressed a doubt about a 14-point peace plan proposed by Iran over the weekend. And we're going to take a look at a particular news outlet that has some of those points, supposedly. We'll see how many of them are true. But he says countries from all over the world, almost all of which are not involved in the Middle Eastern dispute going on so visibly and violently. Yeah, he's good with adjectives, isn't he? For all to see, have asked the United States if we could help free up these ships that are locked up in the Strait of Hormuz. And that's a big issue because, there's only so much dockage, and they've got to get supplies out. They've got to feed these crews. They've got all kinds of stuff that have to take place, and they need to get out of there. All right. They're burning fuel every day in generators just to keep stuff air conditioned and the ships functional and all the safety valves in place and everything that goes along with that. So, for the good of Iran, the Middle East, and the United States, we have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so that they can freely and ably get on with their business. Now, that kind of contradicts a little something. I saw Trump make another statement to the press just recently that it's not for the good of Iran. Iranian ships moving Iranian oil are not going to be going and being escorted out. The embargo still applies to them. I've told my representatives to inform them that we will use our best efforts to get their ships and crews out safely from the strait. In all cases, they will not be returning. So it's a one-way trip. You can leave, but we're not going to let you come back in, he says. And I don't know if that's the right decision either. Why shouldn't we allow ships to take the risk, if that's what they choose, to get to Saudi Arabia, to get to Oman, to get to the UAE and Kuwait and Iraq to gather oil? Why shouldn't we allow that? I don't know why we shouldn't. But I think, you never know with Trump. You cannot take Trump literally. You have to take him figuratively. So sometimes it's information that's difficult to pin down. Many of these ships are running low on food, fuel, everything else necessary for large-scale crews to stay on board in a healthy and sanitary manner. Trump also confirmed that showing goodwill on behalf of all those who have been fighting over the last several months was important. Okay? If in any way this process is interfered with, the interference will unfortunately have to be dealt with forcefully. So Trump's sitting there saying, hey, you know what? Get in my way. I'm going to blow you up. That's pretty much what he's saying. Okay? And we'll get over to that. I want to get to this article later as well. Now, let us do a couple of things here. Let's see here. Let's catch up on a couple of the comments here. Okay, here we go. Bobby Gill says it's back up to 470 for the cheapest in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, has the second highest fuel tax in the USA. Wow, I didn't realize that. Thank you, Bobby. Diesel is costing me about 84 bucks. I got to that. Walter Cronkite, Paul. Brewmeister, good morning, Brewmeister. How you doing? How's things going, my friend? Thank you for dropping in. Heath McDaniel, good morning from Southeast Tennessee. Caught me doing my evening walk around the driveway. All right, well, Heath, you know your health is more important than this, and you can always watch this on replay. Continue your walk and be healthy, Heath. Bobby Gill, I don't understand how diesel is higher than gas. It's a product of marketing, making gasoline. Yeah, and it's always been, you know what? It hasn't always been that way. I can remember when diesel was cheaper than gasoline. Walter Cronick would be a good babe for a weed dealer. I don't know. The U.S. is NATO. Yeah, Bobby, you're correct. The U.S. is NATO. And that's going to get back actually to this statement right here from Prime Chancellor Frederick Merz, who is pretty much eating a little bit of crow after Trump is pulling some troops out. You'll see what I'm talking about in a couple of minutes. Okay. NATO's like the major diamond mining companies they see. I think Tim got cut off there. The IRGC does not want to give Trump a win before the midterm elections in the USA. Some Democrats are Iran's biggest allies. No, they don't. They don't want to give the U.S. a win on anything, and they don't want to give Trump credit for anything. But that's tough, you know? I mean, it's not Iran. It's not the people of Iran. 90 million people in Iran, but only 4 to 5 million are IRGC. They are just a pain in the ass, you know, these fanatics. Good morning from Kalinga, Luzon. War is escalating, in my opinion. You know, Al, I hope we don't see large-scale boots on the ground. I think what has to happen here, and this is just my opinion, only my opinion, okay? We have one objective: stop nuclear proliferation with Iran. They're zealots. They've already said they want the death of everybody that's not a Muslim, that doesn't even be a fanatical Muslim. And quite frankly, I don't think that should be allowed, personally. I really don't. I've made my thoughts clear on this before. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that any nations should rely on mutually assured destruction and nuclear bombs. Nobody should have it, including the U.S., but we do. And unfortunately, we used it. And, well, that's a whole different story either. Sup, Big Al? Saying hi to everybody. Bobby Gill, Iran was charging $3 million each. We will do it for 1.5 each and have like a caravan. Now, we should do it for free. We should honestly do it for free. But that's going to cost money too. You know, it's a whole lot more money to put a boat underway than to put a boat in position. So you can position a ship in an embargo line, and it takes far less in fuel to upkeep that line than it does for a ship to transit 400 or 500 miles. Billy, Trump knows now Iran won't give up until there's just sticks and stones. It won't be as easy as Venezuela. I think he underestimated this whole thing. I don't think so. Because I don't think, you know what, Bill? You could be absolutely correct. But what we haven't seen, what we have yet to see, and what we have told people we don't want to see yet, both Trump, the UK, Trump, Pahlavi, the king in exile, and Israel have repeatedly said, we don't want to see the uprising of the population yet. We don't want you to be out on the streets and retaking your country away from the religious lunatics. We don't want to see that until we're done bombing. And so, Bobby, I don't think we've seen Iran yet. I think trying to label Iran as the IRGC is not real. Christopher, how you doing, Christopher Leroy? Thank you for dropping in. He says, I agree. Bill, Venezuela was easy. Iran, you'll have to beat the whole ideology. I don't know, Bobby. I don't think the whole ideology is being represented by less than 3% of the population. Less than 3% of the population believes in this fanatical Muslim ideology. You know, being a Muslim is not necessarily death to everybody that isn't. Chippy Whisker, stations are now using summer blend, which is more expensive. Okay. Yeah, see, I don't know about I don't know about oil. I don't know anything about it with respect to its chemicals and engineering and you know, I know it's part of the byproduct of the diesel that goes into Fortuner, part of the byproduct of the gasoline that goes in the van and the scooter, and that's about all I can really tell you about gasoline. Bill says, yep, exactly. So we'll see. Still listening, texting, and walking, just trying to keep weight from no smoking. Still the generation that can do more than one thing. Yeah. Well, good for you, Heath. Congratulations on the not smoking, too. God. Michael Atos. How you doing, Michael? You haven't missed too much. So, Paul, Iran has been nothing but a bunch of hoodlums. They are tied to Islam, and they use the Quran to control their society in a sick, sick way. I see no way but the highway for Iran. I hope, Paul, we can find a way for everybody to live in peace. That's important. Is it possible? I don't know. Not when you are fanatics. But then again, we're experiencing the same thing here in the U.S. I wish everybody in the U.S. would get along. But shit, we have fanatical ideologists in the U.S. OPEC is limiting the oil industry to keep the prices artificially high, limiting supply and increasing demand. You know what, Tim? They do. They do limit it, all right? But they did announce today 7 of the 12 OPEC Plus members announced today, just a couple hours ago, that they are increasing the daily cap. Hillbilly Pyro, how you doing? And that's going to be big money for Oman, UAE, Kuwait, Iraq, all right? That's going to be big bucks for them. They're cashing in too. Don't think war is not a financial instrument. All right? It absolutely is. You know, those of us that are just plain people, okay? Hey, wait, great deal. 29 minutes. It only took 29 minutes to get my first thumbs down. Good morning, my haters. I love you. Love you. Double up. Come on, sign in on that other account. Give me another thumbs down. All right, double up. Get your butt in gear. You're really, really slacking off. All right, but don't think for a minute that war is not also totally compounded by finance. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's just the way it is. And those that are in the middle class, they either get lucky or they don't. At this point, it's now about the petrodollar. It could be, yeah, without a doubt, Christopher. I mean, the EU is just falling apart. 1% is too much when it comes to radicals. It's like a needle in a haystack. Yeah, and Bobby, you're right. What happens if there is regime change? Are you going to end up like some of these other countries where the population retakes or has a democratic or monarchy or whatever, but by popular demand, this is the new government, and then turn around and you're going to have the fanatics having a 20-year guerrilla war? All right. Are they going to go around blowing up refineries and everything else? You know, it's all a mess, really. But Bobby, you're 100% correct. Diesel also takes more refining thanks to the EPA guidelines. Again, you know, John Rossi, you're in an area that I just don't have enough knowledge to speak about. I really and truly do not. So let me catch a couple more of these comments, and I want to go to this 14-point plan. I keep track of my miles per gallon of my car with winter blend and cold weather. It gets 4 to 6 miles per gallon less in winter than summer air and gas blend. Really? That's interesting. 123 Sabang. You said the other day the U.S. should colonize Iran and other countries to pay off its debt. The British did that 150 years ago, but does that give the U.S. the right to do it? All right, so 123 Sabang, that was being joked. I don't think the U.S. should colonize any other countries. Here's what I said, all right, and here's what I meant. And I say it in jest, but you got to admit it has some viable things. I think we should just take Iran, own everything, create everything, all right, and then take a cut of the oil until we get paid back what it cost us to give them freedom. And that would be a wrong thing to do, because who are we to determine what somebody else's freedom is? But yeah, I think we should own Iran, and then just like a house, we should sell it and flip it to somebody else, give them a low down payment, let them pay us over years, and then when they back out, you know what? We just repossess Iran. And we can do that over and over, for God's sakes. But yeah, I say all that in jest. You know I hope you know I don't mean it. Okay? Christopher, I've been hearing 40 years about Iran and their nukes, and I'm not sure about this, as I know my country's lied before. Yeah, well, I haven't. We know that they started their path to nuclear production about 18 years ago. Okay, so the IRGC went in 47 years ago, coming on 48 years shortly. The IRGC will have been there. And we know that I want to say it was about 18 years ago, they started their nuclear path. And that was to develop nuclear power plants, quote unquote. And it has escalated since then. And we should have limited them to buying reactor grade uranium and plutonium, and not operating their own centrifuges and being able to spin out nuclear grade. And Christopher, I know it's been like 40 years or even 18, and you're like, oh, it's been going on for years and years. The technology for actually producing weapons grade uranium, if you have to invent it yourself, can take that long. I mean, it is incredibly, to produce it is so much more difficult than most people think. And it requires so much more. I mean, an average centrifugal production cycle encompasses 30 to 50,000 centrifuges. And that, I mean, it's a lot. There's a guy that I watch. He's a nuclear engineer, PhD. He's worked and been, the guy is in his field is kind of famous. If I get a chance after this live, first chance I get, I will go get his channel name because he debunks a lot of crap about nuclear, and he does reaction videos to people that do videos on nuclear. I will put it in the section below so that you guys can look this guy up. He is easy to listen to. He is very good at explaining stuff. I really enjoy him a lot. Haters were taking their evening nap. Yeah, Heath, indeed. Well, now I have my second thumbs down. So apparently our troll got up, gave me a thumbs down, went and took his morning piss, all right, and then signed on to his second account and gave me a thumb. No, you know what? Could just be two simple people that don't like the content, me, the channel, the topic, whatever. We don't care. We really don't. People are entitled to their opinions. Mike, you must be an early riser to get these live streams going. Yeah, Bill, I am generally up. Generally, I'm up drinking coffee, starting my day about 3 o'clock in the morning. I've always been that way. I never sleep more than like 4 hours at a time. I mean, don't get me wrong. Never is a stupid word to use. It's very rare that I get more than 4 hours of straight sleep, but it's not uncommon that I would go to sleep, get 4 hours, roll over, wake up, roll over again, and go back to sleep. That can happen, but generally at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I make my phone calls to the U.S., I talk to my family in the U.S., I check the news, I have my morning routine, okay? So yeah, but usually I'm up at 3. This morning, yesterday I was a little bit busy, so I didn't get like a post that was out there and should have had this thumbnail, should have had this thing waiting and everything else. But yeah, I guess that's an early riser. But thank you for noticing, Bill. Hillbilly, yeah, Rem, Halliburton. Remember Halliburton? Yeah, absolutely. Hillbilly Pyro is absolutely correct. Do you remember Halliburton? Do you remember everything that went through that? Okay? Michael Etas, if you like, I can give you your next thumbs down. And just as you said that, just as I read that, I got my third thumbs down. Wow, that's great. Love it. Love it. Congratulations on the thumbs down, Lionel says. And I don't know if Michael gave me a thumbs down, but it doesn't matter. Amigo, hi, Mike and everyone. How you doing, Amigo? Thanks for dropping in. Let me catch up on some of the comments. War is good for embezzlement. Not so much on Trump's part, but with the military complex. No war time I've seen the price of a bolt being $900 for something you can buy at Home Depot for 57 cents. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, amigo. Well, with 50 people in the room, and people rotating through, I got 4 thumbs down now. That's fine. I don't care. Makes no difference. I bet to I had to buy locking gas caps. My car and multi-cab at the gas had stolen. Now I can remember Hillbilly Pyro when I was a young guy. Everybody had locking gas caps in the U.S. I can remember during the big fuel crisis, everybody was putting locking gas caps on them. We shouldn't pay. Bobby says we shouldn't pay for the war and rebuilding and get nothing in return. Indentured servitude is the answer. You know what, Bobby? In jest, I can see where you're going with that. I'm not sure I really agree with indentured servitude, but I do believe that if they're going to be pumping out $500 million a week in oil, kicking 10% of that back to pay for us liberating them or stopping them or making them do what needs to be done, okay, is a small price to pay. Joe Paul, how you doing, Joe Paul? That didn't work out well in Iraq or Afghanistan. What we should do is end humanity's dependence on fossil fuels and those prices. Well, when you've got the answer, Joe Paul, I'm all for it. Unfortunately, the carbon footprint and what it takes to create wind, solar, and half a dozen other non fossil fuel positions just isn't there. It is not there. And you can't this is not like All right, there we go. Sorry. Muted. No sound. Yes, no sound. Okay, I got it now. No audio, no volume. Turn up the jams. So Joe Pop. No, it's not there, and we aren't looking hard enough because the special interest groups oppose it one day, or it will be gone, and we will solve the problem then, or will disappear. So I hope that you had sound for some of that. I apologize. Your lips are moving, but I can't. Immediately speed dial him. I'm good, can read lips. Mike timed himself out. There you go. Sorry. U.S. is going to be short on fertilizer soon. Wow. Okay. All right. So we got the sound back. Bobby Gill, we have had enough. We have enough oil in the U.S. for everyone. Like I said before, OPEC is a communist ideology that we got sucked into before they wanted. But you know what? Oman is a monarchy. UAE, they're not communists. All right. Although I would tend to say, good morning, Mike. Good morning, Books Rick. Amigo, I'm deaf. I can't read lips. Putting my lip to reading abilities. Yeah, people in chat just have a hearing problem. And I'm failing at it. How long will it? Apparently it's took too long for me to figure it out. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Unless you can find an alternative for manufacturing products, the world is going to need oil. Hell, and everything. Yeah. Philly says, I'm getting a thumbs down for him for not having sound. Yeah, geez. I am sorry. And you know what? Brian did message me, and I had my phone on mute. I'm sorry. Man, I screwed this one up, didn't I? I screwed it up. Wait till he finds out he's been bumping in gums for 20 minutes with no sound. Yeah, that's pissing me off. You muted, we can't hear you. The IRGC hacked your sound mic. I see a ghost. They declared jihad over my sound. 80% of the oil comes from Canada. That's 80% of our oil comes from Canada. Where the hell did you get that, Phil? Where do you think 80% of our oil comes from Canada? Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen what comes out of Alaska? What comes out of the Permian Basin in Texas? Oh, please. Philly Shuffle, send a text. Just getting more views than usual. Yeah. Amigo. What is going on here? Hang on. Super chat from Amigo. Okay. Mike, you have no volume. Wow. I can't believe that happened. Sorry. Paul Rogers, there is plenty of international waters in the strait. They weren't ever controlling it. And that's true. There is. But again, we go back and we have to understand by whose dictate is what. All of these international agreements are controlled by nobody. There's no enforcement to that shit. There's no reality to it. All right. The WHO, the UN. All right. These people are all a joke. I'm going over to the Angry John's vlog. Okay. Maybe Philly can do something. I think he's a bat channel to Mike. Yeah, except I had my phone on mute. I turn my phone on mute at night when we go to bed so that it doesn't wake up Arlen, because I do get continuous alerts and emails throughout the night. Views are going on. I called the bat phone, no answer. All right, let's see. Man, I was out for a while. Jeez. Phil, 60% of import crude oil, yes, not 60% of oil. Only reason we import any oil is because when Biden did in his last term, we were 100% energy independent until him. Yeah. 60% of our imported oil may come from Canada, but it's not 60% of our oil. The Strait of Hormuz, yeah. There you go, Eddie. How you been, Eddie? Nice to see you. Everybody turn on your closed caption. I think I heard the worst bullshit. 6 minutes at least. Oh, I hate that. The USA refineries are old and need heavy crude. The USA is broke. Their infrastructure is falling. That's why China is superior. China's a piece of shit. Okay? Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. China's a piece of shit. All right? They're not superior to the US in any way, shape, or form. Okay? That's just the bottom line. That just is. All right? The USA is not broke. We'll just print more money. For God's sakes. I don't get it. Mike, we need a recap of what you said earlier. I'm not sure where I stopped at. That's the problem. But you know what? Let's do this. Let's go to this. What is Iran's 14? What's it going to take for Iran, all right, and the U.S. To come to an agreement? Well, according to Al Jazeera, the new proposal calls for guarantees against future attacks, withdrawal of U.S. forces from around Iran, and the release of frozen Iranian assets worth billions of dollars, lifting of sanctions, war reparations, ending all hostilities, including Lebanon, and a new mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz. Really? You must be really crazy, Iran. All right? That is not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. I thought this was listed in order, but not. So let's go through this, okay? So the new proposal against future attacks. We might be able to consider something about that. Maybe he would say something like, no new attacks, only defense, only in retaliation, like Israel is doing with Lebanon. Only in retaliation, okay? A withdrawal of U.S. forces from around Iran. Kiss my ass. Trump is never going to agree with that. He's never going to leave Saudi Arabia, Oman, all right, UAE, any of those countries unless we're kicked out. We are never going to voluntarily leave those bases. The release of frozen Iranian assets worth billions of dollars. There might be some room for play in there with respect to how that money is spent and some oversight, maybe. The lifting of sanctions, that's not going to happen. That is not. There are always going to be sanctions. Right? War reparations. Yeah, I will pay you for all of that damage with a loan, with interest, and it'll come out automatically from your revenue of oil. And I wouldn't allow you to make payments. I would just say, we're going to automatically debit you. And that's it. Again, we go back to this issue is we should own Iran, ending all hostilities, including in Lebanon. We can't control the Israelis, all right? And it's not up to us to control the Israelis. So throw that off the table. And a new mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz. There's nothing wrong with the mechanism of freedom of passage, period. We just end the embargo. and so do they. All right. Iran, which was attacked by the U.S. and Israel, all right. Israel has previously targeted Iranian nuclear scientists and run campaigns to sabotage. Yeah. All right. Tehran also wants its rights to uranium enrichment guaranteed as a signatory to the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Trump has made the nuclear issue a red line. Iran wants decades of sanctions, which have devastated its economy, to be lifted as any part of a deal. The navigation through the strait and demands for war reparations are other sticking points. All right, look, it's not going to happen. All right, it is not. I just don't see it. I don't. So those are the points. The USA refiners, yeah, bullshit. Sorry, can't agree. Agree to disagree. Mike, we need a recap. Hillbilly Pyro, time for my walk before it gets hot. Have a good day, night, everyone. Thank you so much, Pyro. Thank you. Well, we still love you, Mike. Keep on keeping on, Chief. Yeah. Thank you. I apologize, folks. I don't know what happened. I have a problem where sometimes the connection on my microphone goes, and I have to redo it. Brewmeister, it looked like you prepared well for this. I did prepare well, and it breaks my heart that I was muted for that little period of time. 60%, please read. If I had to guess, I'd guess those thumbs down have an English accent. Who knows? You know, I don't even watch that guy. I really don't. The only time I see his stuff, all right, is when somebody emails me and says, hey, he said this and this about you, or this and this about that, and it's a blatant lie, which he does quite a bit. All right. And let me just say, he's as bad as CNN and MSNBC putting a spin on things. He'll tell a partial truth, but you know what? That's YouTube, and that's the vast majority of all YouTubers. So I don't care. Well, the international water is pretty much a moot point when you have mined crap out of it. Yeah, but you know something? I don't think they've found a single mine yet. I don't think they've been able to prove that there's a mine out there. I would like to see that happen. 60% of oil imports come from Canada. Yeah. And you know what, Mike? That might be old data, because that might very soon be replaced by Venezuelan oil. Canadian oil may very well be replaced as the 60% of oil coming from elsewhere. All right? Investing in nuclear energy is my strategy for building wealth in 2030. I can't help but agree that that's the solution. I just don't know if the tree huggers will let us do it. I really and truly don't. I think it's the cleanest, safest form of creating energy. I just don't know if we can get away with it. I think I would be looking more on the international side of that. I really and truly do. Canada sends its shitty sand oil down to the USA process. Yeah, they do. A lot of shale oil. Do you think after this Iran thing is over, the peso dollar rate? I think Bill, I think so. I don't think the Iran thing specifically per se, it drives the peso dollar. All right. I think it's the U.S. stock market and where people are seeing things happen. So, yes, I do. I look for us to see a big bump in the market shortly. Once, I think we're looking at some form of resolution in the next 30 days. And then there'll be a huge bump in the market. I think Trump is moving this so that it times itself well with the midterms. And when we see all of that, the peso dollar will change. Okay? But will it be dramatic? I don't know what your idea of dramatic is. To me, since when I first came to the Philippines, it was 48 pesos to the dollar. I don't think we'll ever see. You know what? I should never say that. I think it would take a huge, huge problem, a monster-sized problem, to ever see anything under 55 or under, under 55, to be honest with you, anytime soon. All right. Melvin, we are like Nazi Germany during World War II. We will print money out of thin air. Now, I hope that you're only referring to the fact that we'll print money, not referring to the ideology, because I don't think we're anything like Nazi Germany's ideology. LOL. Phil says, I'm entitled to my opinion. If you have been there, you may change your mind a little bit. Yeah, you know what, Phil? I've been to a lot of places. Okay? I've been to a lot of places. My family, I have a lot of family in Canada. All right? My mother's family, a whole side of the family immigrated to Brompton, Canada, way back when. I don't know. Way back when. Eddie Noy, I voted for this. There you go. There you go, Eddie. John Rossi, after what? U.S. bombed the shit out of their Navy. Of course they're going to mine it. I don't know, Sunset. I don't know that they have the ability. I don't know. I mean, I've yet to see credible documentation of a mine in the Strait of Hormuz. Do you believe they actually have done it? Most every currency are pegged to the U.S. Dollar. Many are. Many are. The Europeans would beg to differ. BRICS would beg to differ. But that's a whole different issue. Funny how nobody mentions Israel's hand in all of this. I think they've got a big hand in it, Sunset. I mean, let's be honest. I think they've got a major hand in all of this. I mean, we've seen them. They're bombing the shit out of it. I think a couple of different things. I think we have CIA and special operations guys in Iran. And I will bet you the Mossad outnumbers our guys on the ground by a factor of 20. All right. For every one of our spies that are on the ground in Iran right now, I'll guarantee you, I can't guarantee you, obviously. I feel like, all right, Mossad probably has 25 or 30 for every one that we have, if not even 50. They've been working on this and regime change and everything else for years and years. Rail yards around abandoned GM factories, old rail yards, hold oil tanker coming in and going from Canada, hundreds of tanker cars. Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, I don't know, Michael. I know that oil moves from Canada to the U.S. by truck, by train, by pipeline. I mean, it all moves. How it moves, got no idea. Paul Rogers, I hear the strait is only 2 miles wide. I do not see how we can keep that area safe. It is 20, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, Paul. It's either 21 or 24 miles wide at its skinniest point. And in that skinniest point, there are two channels, one going in, one coming out. Each one of those channels is 2 miles wide, and those two channels are separated by a 3-mile buffer. I could be wrong on the numbers themselves. Somebody can Google it and verify it. But I think that's what it is. Because Fox News, no, I don't think Fox, I think every news channel spins the news to whatever they want. Just like every YouTube channel spins the news to what they want. I have a bias. Okay? I'm not going to deny that. I would not lie to you guys. And I would not say I don't have bias. I'm being objective. I'm representing both sides. I definitely have a personal bias. Okay? I don't like the fanatical Islamists. Period. End of story. Okay? Fox News has a bias. CNN has a bias. MSNBC, Rupert Murdoch, all right, and all the other powers that be, they all have biases. And they all do it because money is the bottom line. For many of them, money is the bottom line. It's 120 miles wide. At its thinnest point, Michael, can you go back and look at that? Can somebody Google what is the thinnest point? I wonder if I can do that. What is the thinnest point of the Strait of Hormuz? 21 miles. The narrowest point, okay? So I just Googled this. All right. The narrowest point of the Strait of Hormuz is probably 21 miles, all right, in between Iran and Oman. Despite the width, the shipping lane for traffic in either direction is 2 miles wide. Oh, I thought it was separated by a 3-mile buffer zone, but it's a 2-mile buffer zone. So there we go. Let's see here. Bobby Gill. Michael, exactly. Canada's is so messed up. That's why even Crown Royal left there. We only processed that shitty sand oil because 3 Canadians can't. Again, I don't know much about the actual engineering behind oil. I don't. It's something I should probably try and learn a little bit more about. Just to keep the maple syrup beer and Tim Hortons coming our way, Canada. We'll keep buying your cheap crude. Hey, I used to love maple syrup. There used to be this stuff we used to buy. So, my mom's family has a cottage on Lake Brompton, Canada. And we would go there, I guess maybe once every 3, 4, 5 years. All right. When we would come to the States to visit, that's one of the places we would drop by when I was a kid. And they used to buy this can of stuff. And it was, I swear, I don't remember for sure. Those of you that are Canadian, maybe you can correct me or figure it out. But it used to be a can, and it was called Maple Cream, I think. And this was not stuff that you could easily pour. I mean, it was white, and it was like you would spread it on toast. Holy crap. I think that's maybe what was the final straw. I mean, I've always been an insulin-dependent diabetic. My pancreas barely worked when I was young. maybe that's what killed my pancreas in the end. All right, because by the time I got to my early teens, my pancreas had quit working completely. I wonder if it was the maple cream. I don't know. Michael Atos. Humus in narrow, about 21, 24 miles. Yep, same thing I got. Thank you, Michael. NAFTA was a bullshit agreement, just like OPEC. Yeah, NAFTA, you know what? I said when NAFTA came around, it would be bullshit, and it turned out it was. Israel is good cop, bad cop for USA military operations. I don't know, man. They've been bombing the crap out of people. 21 nautical miles. Strait of Hormuz, 21. Boy, everybody looked it up. Sabang, Mike, Sunset Travel. Joe Bob. The news channels are now entertainment channels, and they spin the news to our taste because advertisers want to sell us crap. No news network cares about the news. They will cater. Okay, so I want to tell you what I had written down. I have like a list of topics and things like that. Okay? One of the things, so I have IPTV, Internet Protocol TV. So I get like I want to say probably, I get hundreds and hundreds of channels and pay-per-view and movies and everything else. And then I have a Netflix account as well. All right. Now, so I get the news channels. So I can have Al Jazeera, I can have BBC, I can have Fox, CNN, I have all of them. And I will jump from one to another. And this was the topic that I was looking at, was scamming senior citizens is becoming such a big topic. Because what I noticed last night, we were watching TV and we were watching an American channel. All right. Every other commercial that I went through, every one of them was tied to marketing, advertising to senior citizens. You know, help me, I can't get up. Help me, I'm falling, I can't get up. Reverse mortgage, health care, this pill for this and this pill. I mean, that is the biggest target right now. Now, I know that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today, but I thought that I might do a live stream on that. U.S. media is not telling the truth about what's really going on in the Middle East. You know what, Phil? I don't think the U.S. media is not telling the truth. I see. What is it, Phil, that you think the U.S. media is not telling the truth? All right. Tell us what you think they're not being truthful about. In fact, if you want, in the comments, say you want to cam up and discuss it face to face, I'm happy to turn that on. I will invite you on and we can discuss it. All right. You can tell us and give us, all right, all of our viewers and everything else, tell them, what is the U.S. media lying about in the Middle East? Okay. Tell us what's not being told. Some of us want a Trump bad. Some want Trump good. No matter what you believe, there's a news channel for you. I watch none of them. I watch them all. Dickie Pies. Hey, Dickie. Every POTUS in the last 40 years blew their horn saying no nukes Iran. Trump does something about it. Yeah, exactly. Obama said something. All right, Biden said something. Bush said something. Shit, you can go all the way back to Reagan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. I could be wrong. Joe Pa, that's not true. Like I said, tell me in the comments you're willing to cam up. I will turn on the cam interviews. I'm happy to do it. Maple cream. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what it was, Michael, but I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you, I put that on toast and my blood sugar probably went up 500 points. That maple cream before my time, Miss Butterworth in the glass bottle. This stuff made Miss Butterworth look like diet soda. I'm not kidding, Heath. It was incredible. I have Ben's Sugar Shack maple cream in my pantry. I don't remember, Joe, where it came from or what brand it was or anything like that. All right. Come on, Phil. All right. Let me know if you want to cam up. I want you to cam up and tell us exactly. I mean, look, that's the kind of channel we are. We want people to not just tell us and voice their opinions. We want them to provide input. So I'm giving you that opportunity. I'm happy to do it. Maple cream or maple butter. I think that's what it was. A simple one ingredient. Spread maple by the heating pure maple, made by heating pure maple syrup, 234, cooling it roughly, and then ice bath, stirring and whipping it. I think that's what maple butter maybe. I don't know what it was called. All I know is it came in a can and it was white. Heath, I've got a phone, internet, data, and satellite digital dish TV, 2579, 3550. Got tired of paying for all. I pay, what do I pay? I pay $25 a month. Okay. I get Cinemax. I get everything. Absolute, all pay-per-view, all the ball games, all the playoff. All right. Everything. Joe Paul. Creme d'Herbe. Okay. That's the French name for it, I guess. The Canadian name, maybe. Since I went on SSDI, I get phone calls and emails for adult diapers. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. I hope you don't need them. But you know what? Millions of people use them, and there should be no shame in that. Okay? China wouldn't be happy the U.S. gained control over Venezuelan and Iranian oil. No. I mean, we already have the Venezuelan control. All right. Although we are letting them decide what to do with it. We're not forcing them. Okay. So we'll see. You know, Venezuela does, as 123 Sabong says, Venezuela has an agreement with China. How much of that they're still adhering to, I don't know. I got no idea. Does anybody? Joe Pa, well, the other presidents weren't being mentioned in the Epstein files. Okay. I guess there's some truth to that. I guess there is. Lost Boy, I'm hitting all-time highs. Good for you. I'm not sure what it means, but good. As long as you're happy, isn't that what matters? Arstel, I did multiple deployments to the Middle East and transits through the Straits of Hormuz during my Navy career. Even did it on board the Abraham Lincoln back in 95 for Operation Sea. There you go. Arstel's been there. So, you know, I would wonder if you're going through the Strait of Hormuz, were you able to see either Iran or Oman at its thinnest point? I'm not sure. I guess maybe it would depend if you were on the Abraham Lincoln, how high up you were. Well, I can only say what I hear on talk radio and Fox News. Iran is a bunch of thugs trying to blackmail the world with oil shipments through the Straits. But I admit, I lean right, except when it comes to the sea. You know what? I think it all boils down to being responsible too. How do you put all of this into that category? Phil, thanks, but no. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, Phil. All right. But you're welcome to anytime. And you are welcome to your opinion anytime. And I like that, Phil. I mean, we can agree to disagree, Phil. There's nothing wrong with that. I was at the naval base in Bahrain a couple of years ago. That's where I discovered shawarma. Oh, I love good shawarma. I really do. Michael, that's funny. Phil, Mike won't be rude to you. He just wants you to speak your opinion. Yeah, I do. Look, the only time, unless you're going to be rude, I'm not going to be rude. Unless you're going to go after, you're never going to get a bad stream with me, all right? Unless you attack others. And even then, I do allow that to a certain degree. Have to leave in 5 minutes. I do enjoy your content. And Phil, we enjoy your comments because, I go back. All right. For those of you that watch this, something, and Phil, keep this in mind. For those of you that watch this, I do replays. I check off the box for the chat to remain. Now, it takes YouTube anywhere between 3 and fucking 10 hours. All right. After the video posts for the chat to post as well. But if you go back, the chat is often there. Now, once in a while, I forget to check that box. Right. But I go back and then I look at the stuff that I disagree with and then research it. Because I can be wrong. I could be mistaken. All right. That's not a negative thing whatsoever. So we talked about the Strait. Okay. Let's see here. Arstel, do you have a King Neptune ceremony when from Pollywog to Shellback? All right. So for those of you that don't know that, if my memory serves me correctly, that's when you cross the equator. There's a ceremony that you go from a pollywog to a shellback when you cross the equator. If I remember my naval histories well enough, I don't know. So there we have the Strait. Trump says, I'm going to escort these boats out. I'm going to give them assistance to get out. All right. I'm going to give them assistance to get out. Then the next thing I covered, suffocating Iran's regime. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that right now. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff right now. All right. I apologize that my microphone became disconnected, but it happens. So I'm sorry. That was really sad. I had like 60 in the room when, and then the next time I looked up, I'm seeing, oh my God, because I was on a roll talking about Germany and MERS, going back on his word and everything else. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. So I think what we're going to see, I think it being Sunday evening, we're not going to see a lot. I think Monday, we're not going to see a lot. But I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to see some major announcements. I really and truly do. When do you guys think we're going to see anything? Wife just made chicken adobo with rice. Yummy. As long as it's good chicken adobo, that's for sure. I'm a golden shellback, cross the equator at the international date line. There you go. There you go. Tim Desiak, how long ago was that? I don't know. Oh man. So we've had a good, I think we've had a good live stream. I really do. What else could we talk about? How long? 1936. 1936. Holy shit, I'm not sure what 1936 is. I don't know that. Order of the Ditch. I don't know that either. Now we're talking about Navy stuff, military stuff I don't know anything about. Big Dave. In 2 weeks, everything is 2 weeks with Trump. Yeah. Again, you know what I've said, I've always said this. Meyer Tusi, a guy that does a political channel, said this a long time ago. I have to give credit where credit's due. And I've adopted it, and I say it as well. You can't take Trump literally. You can only take him figuratively. That's just all there is to it. And he's a big Trump supporter. John Rossi, when they realize they have no more room to store oil, no, they are there. They are there now. I'm seeing predictions of a week, 2 weeks. All right. I think they're already having trouble storing oil. Okay. You have to remember, Iran is not a small little country. Iran is a huge country geographically, and they're moving oil all over that nation. They've got some issues storing it. You know, and then there's this whole thing behind how difficult it is to restart a well. Like you can't just, not like a water faucet you can turn on and off. Apparently, and again, I'm not a petroleum engineer. I don't know the specifics behind all of this, but from what I've read, when you shut an oil well down, when you stop pumping it, restarting it is a major ordeal. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know, but you guys can probably Google it and find out. When they have no more room, shutting down a well is not a good. No, it's not. Tim Desiak, I wasn't around in 1936. Michael, go back and watch when volume went out and use it on the next slide. There you go. Yeah, I will. I'll have to go see what I missed. But by then, that news is probably old, and it's not that difficult, to bring. I'd rather bring you up current at that time. I mean, you guys got to remember, I've got about 2.5 hours to prep for each one of my lives. So, that's 5 news sites, all right? Reading any of the emails and alerts that I get. I've got about 3 hours generally. That's how much time I usually give myself because I mean, honestly, when my morning ordeal is about a 5-minute call to my mom, about a 10-minute call to my daughter. I check some financial stuff and I'm done. I can be done in 30 minutes, honestly. The rest of that is prep time for the live, all right? Or relaxation. I was in the best part of the Navy, and I thank them for the boat rides and doctors. There you go. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. Arstel, thank you for your service. Yeah, next week we're going to see some action. Trump to worry about the clock ticking, although he says it isn't. So, yeah, very soon we're going to have to do what we did in Gaza. I don't know. I honestly think, my honest opinion, is we're going to see very little destructive force by the United States in Iran. I think what we're going to do is we're going to see something that the stock markets like and love, and that the Europeans will try and take partial credit for. And all of that is going to be to bolster things for the midterms. It's all a timing issue. All a timing issue. Order of the ditch is the Panama Canal. Nope. Was West Coast sailor, did many Westpacks. Okay. Sometimes I watch Meet the Press just for laughs, just to see the liberal mindset. I haven't watched Meet the Press. They, to me, Meet the Press went off the rails about 15 years ago. And I never really liked them that much. And so I just quit watching them. Suez Canal. Yep. And they're building a second canal now. All right. So the Suez Canal runs. Let's see if I can bring that up here. Hold on a second. So if we go over here, so this, if you follow my pointer, that's the Suez Canal. All right. Let's better look. So this is the Suez Canal. So now what they're doing is they're now building another canal that's going to be like that. All right. And that's going to be one of those things that's going to help calm things down. So you've got the Suez Canal. So they've got this one, and you can see it is limited. I mean, if you look at it, it is not really. It is limited traffic-wise. Okay, and so now they're building another one. So that they don't have to worry about this shit. And I don't know if you know this, but Saudi Arabia is now putting in, Saudi Arabia has a pipeline, all right, that runs down, it runs down, I can't remember. I think it runs, sorry about that. I don't want to make you dizzy. All right. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia has a pipeline that runs to a huge oil depot in Jeddah. And now they're building a second one. So they're going to increase traffic through the whatever that is. I don't even know what that's called. The Suez, the Red Sea. Okay? Huh. So they're building another pipeline, and they're building another pipeline all the way up here. So they're building another pipeline all the way up here to, I think it's El Arish. I can't remember exactly, but it's somewhere up in here, so that they'll have a pipeline that runs directly, all right, to the Mediterranean. So ships will be able to skip this area completely. They won't have to deal with that. But with that's years away. That's years and years away. John Rossi, I worked on platforms in the Gulf. Yes, it is really big deal to shut one down. Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know. But Iran covers approximately 1.65 million kilometers, 636,000 square miles. In the United States, its land area is equivalent to the size of Alaska. Yeah, it ain't small. Big place, can't be occupied. Exactly. Russian soldiers surrendered for free McDonald's. I don't know, but I hear Kim Jong Il's got a 50% mortality rate to the troops that he keeps sending to help Russia with Ukraine, and we should cover some more of that as well. Joe Pa, as a young woman, my mother dated an embassy hostage back in '79, Jerry Mealy from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. We tied a lot of yellow ribbons back then. Yeah, I remember that, Joe. All right. I do remember that. I was in college. Iran is willing to suffer much more willingly than the U.S. Well, I don't know. The IRGC is not suffering. It's the people. And I think there's a limit to the people. When they don't have water, they don't have food, and they don't have electric, we'll see how long they let these fanatic fundamentalists, all right, run that shit. Because the vast majority of Iranians are not fanatics. She dated him in the 60s, not 79. He was a hostage in 79. Or as Mark Levin would say, meet the depressed. There you go. Bookham Dano. Good morning, Bookham. How are you, Dano? How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Maybe you'll make it to breakfast one day this week. Who knows? Okay. Hector, off topic. Glad to find out that Clark Med City is on a network international provider for Blue Cross, Geo, Blue, and catastrophic cap is 8K. So no matter what emergency room comes to, maximum I'll pay is 8K. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Hector, they are. And as long as you do your research and you're happy with the results that you got and you trust those results, then perfect. Perfect. I sure hope I don't go down like you say. I want this to be a game changer. Full surrender, and we call the shots going forward when it comes to the Straits. Ditto with NATO. Time to change the status quo. Okay, so Paul, I agree with you, but let's understand something. We should not really, honestly, have any say. I mean, we don't have any skin in the game when it comes to the Straits. Okay? You've got Saudi Arabia, Oman, UAE, Kuwait, Iran, Iraq. They should call the shots. It's their territory, their land. All right? They are the land that borders it all. While they could cause great humanitarian issues, what is that going to be from an international point of view? You know what, Paul? I agree with you. I just don't know how to. Same here, Paul. My last tour on the Vincent, we pulled into several airports, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, not quality Liberty ports. Many don't even want to leave the ship. Too hot. Oh, I don't know. Abu Dhabi is pretty cool. Expensive, but pretty cool. Are you from Fayette County? Joe Paul, are you from Fayette? I don't know where. That's in Pennsylvania. Mike, do reaction video on antics. No. You know what? I said this the last time, all right? And I don't mean any disrespect, but it's just not That seems to be an incredibly toxic situation for both of them. And it's none of my business how other people run their relationships. It's none of my business to decide whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, how their relationships work. I know where my limits would be. And that's all I can say. I mean, Dano, you've got your own YouTube channel, right? You guys should go by Dano's channel. He has a very nice channel. Book him, Dano. Cigar Talk. He has a ton of experience in the U.S. His wife can give you insight. Not that he puts his wife on, but he can give you a lot of insight about bringing your Filipino wife to the United States, making a long living there, then in turn building in the Philippines and retiring and everything else. I mean, he can give you a lot of different insights from his point of view. So you know what, Dano, you can do it. I leave that up to you. I leave that up to you and Ugly Tourist and Ace Bachelor Cool. You guys can do the reaction videos to that. Only decent Liberty Call is Westpac, is East Coast Liberty Call, including NATO Liberty Call. It just even got close to not even close to Subic Bay. Subic Bay was a beast all in of itself, Paul. Joe Pa, I'm Bobby. How did you know that? I have no idea how he knew. Iran will never lay down. Just my guess. It would be handing their country over to Israel. I don't think so. I don't think Israel has any desire to occupy anywhere other than where they are. Okay? And their religion is so totally opposite of Muslims. And what are they going to go against 90 million, kick them out? No, I don't know, Sunset. That's a hard thing to say. No thanks. I'm not Dr. Phil. Oh, come on, Dano. Yes, you are. Everybody that wants Dano to do a reaction video, all right, then say yes in the chat. Sabang, ranging from 120,000 to 200,000 deadweight tons, Suez Max are the largest tankers capable of transiting voyage. Personally completed doesn't. So is 120,000. So is that the biggest size? I mean, is that are there super tankers that are bigger than that, or are we saying that these tankers are not the big tankers? Bobby, I was lucky enough to play in the Med as well as in Subic, and man is the PI Life Suite. David Longley, good day, Mike. Glad you're back. Missed what you thought may have been given up on YouTube. No, not at all, David. The first quarter of the year is always a super busy time of year for us, and we just had a lot going on. And I had a personal project that I was working on as well that ate a lot of my time. I missed it. What happened on Antics? Oh, there you go. If you guys in the chat want to talk about it, but they took that live stream down, just so you know. For those of you that saw it, those of you that saw it, I saw it, that live stream got taken down, just so you know. Dano says won't happen. I don't blame you. Saudi Arabia might be making more money with the strait closed than open with high prices. Yeah, you know what? I would love somebody that actually has the ability to factually put together the financial trail because of the increased price. They may be actually making more. I don't know. Arstell said he was stuck in Bahrain for 30 days getting my last ship repaired after a collision at sea. Had port visits to Jebel Jebel Al, Marte, Dines to Dubai was good liberty. Yeah, Dubai's a good town if you've got some money. Dubai as a country, but Abu Dhabi. So, Joe Paul, you said Mount Pleasant. You only have Westmoreland or Fayette counties, I guess. Yeah, sometimes we tend to say a little bit too much. That's for sure. Okay, folks, we are at the 2-hour mark. Unfortunately, about 9 minutes of that didn't have volume. My deepest apologies for screwing up, but it is something that I will for sure watch out for on the next one. We thank you for showing up. Thanks so much. We wish you a safe and great day. Take care.